Folks, hold on to your seats because what just happened with Atlas has completely changed the game. 3 minutes ago, astronomers confirmed something that shouldn't exist. A new object detected between 3I Atlas and Earth that's forcing us to question everything we thought we knew about interstellar visitors. And when I say everything, I mean the very foundations of physics itself. In recent weeks, three devastating discoveries have exploded in our faces. China released orbital images showing something absolutely disturbing about Atlas. We discovered that there are other cometary objects being detected in the solar system alongside Atlas, and we confirm the 10th anomaly that may be the most important of all. We're talking about images showing impossible structures, acceleration that violates the laws of physics, and a metallic composition that only exists in terrestrial factories. December is going to be the most decisive moment in the history of modern astronomy, and I'm going to explain exactly why. But first, let me tell you about the new discovery that's sending shockwaves through the scientific community. We've discovered the existence of Comet C/2025 V1, with perihelion scheduled for mid-November, which is showing brightness and behavior reminiscent of other recent discoveries. This object, referred to as a comparative comet in current nomenclature, creates a more complex observational scenario than we've ever faced before. The extraordinary discovery was made at the Margot Observatory located on the Crimean Peninsula. This astronomical finding didn't go unnoticed by the international scientific community, being quickly confirmed in the following hours by a collaborative network of astronomers distributed across various countries including Russia, Japan, Austria, Czech Republic, and Chile. What makes this discovery so remarkable isn't just that we've found another object, it's that this object appears to be traveling in formation with 3I Atlas, maintaining a consistent distance that defies random chance. The probability of two interstellar objects arriving in our solar system at the same time, following similar trajectories, less than 1 in a billion. Between October 2nd and 3rd, when Atlas passed by Mars at just 30 million kilometers, closer than Mars has ever come to Earth in all recorded history, Chinese orbiters captured something that should be physically impossible. Converted into sequence, these images show an object with an intensely bluish appearance, bluer than any natural comet should be, bluer than objects that should be 20 times colder than the solar surface. And it doesn't stop there. There are visible lateral structures that completely defy our understanding of how interstellar visitors behave. For you to understand the magnitude of what we're seeing, cold objects don't glow blue. It's a fundamental law of thermodynamics. It's like taking an ice cube from the refrigerator and having it start glowing more intensely than an incandescent bulb. It simply shouldn't be possible. But here's the problem that's making the scientific community furious. These are low-resolution images, the high-resolution images from HiRISE, which could resolve this question once and for all, which could show details of 30 centimeters on Atlas's surface, remain trapped in government bureaucracy. It's like having the key to the most important safe in human history and not being able to use it because of paperwork. It's like having the cure for cancer locked in a file because someone forgot to sign a document. Now let's get to the heart of the mystery, the 10th anomaly that may be the most devastating of all. Remember the mysterious acceleration we detected when Atlas passed through perihelion. The final numbers are absolutely devastating. For Atlas to accelerate this way through natural gas ejection, the famous rocket effect that all comets use, it would have to have lost colossal fractions of its mass. We're talking about more than 5.5 billion tons of material ejected in just 1 month. To put this in perspective, it's like evaporating an entire mountain the size of Mount Everest in a few weeks. This astronomical amount of gas would create a massive, bright, absolutely unmistakable cloud that would be visible throughout the solar system. It would be impossible not to detect with our telescopes. It would be like trying to hide a giant fireworks explosion in an open field in broad daylight, but this cloud doesn't exist. It's simply not there. It's as if someone had fired a giant rocket in space without visible fuel, without detectable exhaust, without any evidence of the process that should be creating the thrust. Basic physics is being violated before our eyes. Dr. Avi Loeb did the calculations using conservation of momentum, one of the most fundamental laws of the universe, and reached a disturbing conclusion. For this object to accelerate this way without showing the corresponding cloud of ejected material, we need to consider that the acceleration is coming from something that doesn't involve massive mass loss. And what could accelerate an object of 33 billion tons without ejecting detectable material? The answer is uncomfortable. Some type of advanced propulsion system or something that we still don't know. And now we come to the most disturbing discovery of all, Atlas's composition that defies everything we know about how objects form in space. Spectroscopic analysis revealed that Atlas has a nickel-to-iron ratio that is characteristic of metal alloys produced industrially here on Earth. I'm not exaggerating. This is literally the chemical signature of advanced metallurgical refining processes. For you to understand why this is so disturbing, in nature, nickel and iron are absolutely inseparable companions. They form together in the core of massive stars during nucleosynthesis, travel together through the interstellar medium for billions of years, and condense together in the formation of planets, asteroids, and comets. The only known exception to this universal rule occurs in industrial nickel refining processes. We're talking about electrolysis, chemical separation at controlled temperatures, metallurgical refinement that requires advanced technology and massive energy. On Earth, separating nickel from iron like this requires entire factories, specialized furnaces, complex chemical processes. In natural space, this simply doesn't happen. It's like finding a perfectly functional smartphone buried in geological layers from 100 million years ago. Technically, you can invent extremely elaborate natural explanations, but the simplest explanation is obvious. And there's more. Atlas is only 4% water by mass. Comets are known as dirty snowballs because they're typically 80 to 90% water ice. Atlas is drier than many deserts on Earth. It's like finding an iceberg that's 96% solid rock. But the list of impossibilities doesn't stop there. Atlas showed a completely unique light polarization pattern, an optical fingerprint that has never been seen in any known natural object. When sunlight hits Atlas and is reflected back, it shows extreme negative polarization that doesn't correspond to any known cometary material, including Comet Borisov, which we know to be completely natural. It's as if Atlas were twisting light in a way that known natural materials simply don't do. The only comparison we have are certain artificial materials with very specific crystalline structures. And we can't forget the absolutely suspicious timing of all this. Atlas arrived with surgical precision to pass near Mars, Venus, and Jupiter in a perfectly coordinated sequence, but remained completely invisible from Earth during the most critical moment, perihelion. The probability of this temporal sequence happening by chance is 0.005%, 5 in 100,000. It's like throwing 3 darts simultaneously and hitting 3 different targets while a fourth person turns their back at the exact moment. And there's more. Atlas came from the same direction as the famous WOW signal of 1977, that mysterious radio signal that many consider the best evidence of extraterrestrial communication ever detected. The directional precision is impressive, like 2 events separated by almost 50 years, pointing to the same cosmic address. The 19th of December 2025. Mark this date because it could change human history forever. Atlas will make its closest approach to Earth at 167 million miles, and all the most powerful telescopes on the planet will be pointed at it. The James Webb Space Telescope, the most sensitive instrument ever built by humanity. Hubble, dozens of ground-based observatories coordinating simultaneous observations. The test is devastatingly simple. If Atlas really lost 5.5 billion tons of material to create its mysterious acceleration, that cloud must be there. It's not optional, it's not uncertain. Physics demands that it exist. If Webb detects this massive cloud, we confirm that Atlas is the strangest comet ever discovered, but still a comet. Conventional science survives even if it needs to be expanded to explain all the other anomalies. But if this cloud is not found, if Webb, with all its extraordinary sensitivity, cannot detect the billions of tons of gas that should be there, then we'll be looking at our first unequivocal evidence of extraterrestrial technology visiting our solar system. Let's quickly recap the 10 documented anomalies that make Atlas unique in the history of astronomy. First, geometrically suspicious trajectory, alignment with the ecliptic plane with 0.2% precision. Second, impossible anti-solar jet, tail pointing to the sun, violating basic physics. Third, extreme mass and velocity, 1,000,000 times more massive than Oumuamua but faster. Fourth, too perfect timing, sequence of planetary encounters with 0.005% probability. Fifth, industrial composition, nickel-iron ratio characteristic of metallurgical refining. Sixth, desert dry, only 4% water, violating basic definition of comet. Seventh, impossible polarization, optical signature never seen in natural objects. Eighth, connection to WOW signal, directional origin coincident with best studied evidence. Ninth, bluer than the sun, color that violates fundamental thermodynamics. 10th, acceleration without mass loss, the new anomaly that breaks conservation of momentum. Individually, each anomaly can be explained with extremely rare natural processes, but 10 anomalies in the same object, the cumulative probability becomes astronomical, literally impossible by coincidence. These discoveries have created a discussion far beyond Atlas. It's a fundamental battle about how science should respond to anomalies, how much weight to give to improbable explanations, and whether the possibility of discovering something truly revolutionary justifies the reputational risk of being spectacularly wrong. On one side, we have the scientific establishment arguing that extraordinary explanations require extraordinary evidence and that we should always prefer natural hypotheses, even if extremely improbable. On the other side, we have scientists like Avi Loeb arguing that when you have data that doesn't fit existing theories, you have a scientific obligation to consider alternatives, even alternatives that sound like science fiction. The criticism Loeb receives is for being too speculative, but his response is devastating. Science has always advanced by questioning established paradigms. Galileo was criticized for suggesting that Earth revolved around the sun. Einstein was ridiculed for his theory of relativity. But now let me tell you about the companion object that's making this situation even more complex. C/2025 V1, discovered at the Margot Observatory, isn't just another comet passing through. Its trajectory analysis shows it's maintaining a consistent distance from 3I Atlas that shouldn't be possible unless they're gravitationally bound or following coordinated paths. Think about what this means. Two objects from interstellar space arriving at the same time, following similar trajectories, displaying similar anomalies. The odds of this happening naturally are so small that we don't have numbers to properly express them. It's like winning the lottery twice in a row with the same numbers. The brightness patterns of C/2025 V1 are eerily similar to those of 3I Atlas. It's showing the same accelerated brightening as it approaches the Sun, that power law with an exponent of negative 7.5 that shouldn't exist. It's displaying the same blue shift that violates thermodynamics. It's even showing similar spectroscopic signatures that suggest industrial metal ratios. What we might be looking at isn't just one anomalous visitor, but a pair of objects traveling together across interstellar space. If that's true, it completely changes the nature of what we're observing. Natural comets don't travel in pairs across billions of years of interstellar journey. The gravitational perturbations from passing stars would have separated them long ago. Unless, of course, they're not natural comets at all. The international response has been unprecedented. Every major space agency is redirecting resources to study these objects. The European Space Agency has reprogrammed several missions. China's space agency is sharing data openly for the first time in years. Even private space companies are getting involved, with some offering to redirect satellites for better observations. But time is running out. Both objects are on hyperbolic trajectories, meaning they'll swing past our Sun once and then leave forever. This is our only chance to study them. There are no second opportunities, no follow-up missions possible. Once they're gone for good. The frustration in the scientific community is palpable. We have the technology to answer these questions definitively. We have telescopes powerful enough to detect the missing gas clouds. We have spectrometers sensitive enough to identify any chemical signature. We have the tools, but we're running out of time to use them. December 19th isn't just about 3I Atlas anymore. It's about both objects. It's about understanding whether we're witnessing the most improbable natural coincidence in astronomical history or something else entirely. Something that would force us to reconsider our place in the universe. The implications are staggering. If these objects are artificial, it means someone or something sent them. The trajectory analysis shows they've been traveling for at least 7.5 billion years. Whatever civilization created them, if that's what they are, would have existed before our solar system formed. They would represent a level of technology we can barely imagine, the ability to build objects that can survive billions of years in interstellar space and still function. But even if they're natural, they're showing us that the universe is far stranger than we imagined. The carbon dioxide dominance, the industrial metal ratios, the impossible acceleration, each of these discoveries is rewriting our textbooks. We're learning that our models of how comets form, how they behave, how they evolve, are far too limited. The discovery of C/2025 V1 adds another layer of complexity to an already complex situation. If it's truly associated with 3I Atlas, we need to explain not just one set of anomalies, but two. We need to understand how two objects could maintain formation across billions of years of interstellar travel. We need to explain why both show the same impossible characteristics. Some scientists are proposing that we might be looking at fragments of a larger object that broke apart long ago. But the trajectory analysis doesn't support this. The objects aren't diverging as fragments would. They're maintaining consistent relative positions, as if they're following a predetermined path. Others suggest we might be seeing a natural phenomenon we don't understand, perhaps objects formed in the same stellar nursery and ejected together. But again, the physics doesn't work. Over billions of years, even objects ejected together would drift apart unless something is keeping them in formation. The most uncomfortable possibility is that we're looking at a coordinated survey mission. Two probes sent to gather data about our solar system, arriving at the perfect time to observe multiple planets, using the sun's gravity to adjust their trajectories, maintaining formation to share data or provide redundancy. I know how that sounds, Believe me, as a physicist, I understand the weight of even suggesting such a possibility. But when the data points in a direction, we have to follow it, no matter how uncomfortable it makes us. The chemical analysis continues to baffle scientists. Both objects show that same impossible nickel to iron ratio. Both have the same deficiency of water ice. Both display the same exotic light polarization. It's as if they were manufactured to the same specifications, using the same materials, following the same design. Natural processes don't create identical objects. Even comets that form in the same region of the same solar system show variations. The fact that two interstellar objects show nearly identical anomalous properties suggests either an incredible coincidence or a common origin that isn't natural. The acceleration patterns are particularly telling. Both objects are experiencing non-gravitational acceleration without visible outgassing. Both are deviating from their expected paths by similar amounts. Both show the same two-component acceleration, radial and lateral, as if they're making course corrections. If we don't find the debris clouds that physics says must exist, we'll be forced to conclude that both objects are accelerating through some unknown mechanism. The probability of one object doing this is already vanishingly small. The probability of two objects doing it simultaneously, it's so small that calling it improbable doesn't do it justice. As December approaches, the entire planet is watching. This isn't just a scientific curiosity anymore. It's captured the public imagination in a way that few astronomical events ever have. People understand that we might be witnessing something historic, something that could change everything. The preparations for December 19th are intense. New software is being written to process the expected flood of data. Artificial intelligence systems are being trained to spot anomalies. International teams are coordinating to ensure round-the-clock coverage. This is humanity at its best, working together to solve a cosmic mystery. But there's also fear. Fear of what we might discover, fear of what it might mean. If these objects are artificial, it means we're not alone. It means there are civilizations out there with technology far beyond ours. It means our understanding of our place in the universe is about to change dramatically. Some scientists argue we should be cautious about jumping to conclusions. They point out that we've been wrong before, that what seems impossible today might seem obvious tomorrow once we understand the natural processes involved. They counsel patience and rigorous methodology. Others argue that excessive caution is just as dangerous as speculation. If we're too afraid to consider unconventional explanations, we might miss the most important discovery in human history. They argue that the evidence is already compelling enough to warrant serious consideration of non-natural origins. The debate has become philosophical as much as scientific. What level of evidence do we need before we accept that something is artificial? How many anomalies does it take? How improbable does something have to be before we abandon natural explanations? These aren't easy questions, and there are no clear answers. But the fact that we're having this debate at all shows how extraordinary these objects are. In the entire history of astronomy, we've never had to seriously consider whether something we're observing might be artificial. Now we're considering it for two objects simultaneously. The timing remains one of the most puzzling aspects. Why now? Why are we seeing these objects exactly when we've developed the technology to detect them? The odds of this happening by chance are astronomical. It's as if the universe waited until we were ready before showing us these mysteries. Some suggest this isn't coincidence at all. Perhaps these objects have been passing through our solar system regularly, but we've only now developed the ability to see them. Perhaps space is full of such objects, and we're just beginning to notice them. Or perhaps, and this is where we enter the realm of speculation, the timing isn't accidental. Perhaps these objects were sent when their creators calculated we would have developed the technology to detect them. Perhaps this is a test, a way of making contact without direct intervention. I realize how this sounds, but when you're faced with impossibilities, you have to consider impossible explanations. The connection to the WOW exclamation mark signal location adds another layer of mystery. If both the signal and these objects came from the same source, it suggests a civilization that's been trying to make contact for decades, first with radio signals, now with physical probes. It's a pattern that makes sense if you're trying to establish communication with a developing civilization. But we need to be careful not to see patterns where none exist. The human brain is excellent at finding connections, even when they're not real. We need to let the data guide us, not our preconceptions or desires. As December 19th approaches, every piece of data becomes crucial. The spectroscopic analysis, the trajectory measurements, the chemical signatures. Each observation adds another piece to the puzzle. We're building a picture of something extraordinary, even if we don't yet understand what we're looking at. The possibility that we're observing technology from another civilization is both exciting and terrifying. It would answer one of humanity's oldest questions, are we alone? But it would also raise new questions we're not prepared for. Who sent them? Why? What do they want? Are they still out there? Even if these objects are natural, they're already changing our understanding of the universe. They're showing us that our models are incomplete, that nature is capable of creating things we never imagined. They're pushing us to think bigger, to question our assumptions, to expand our horizons. The next few weeks will be crucial. As both objects approach their closest points to Earth, we'll have our best opportunity to study them. Every telescope will be watching, every sensor will be recording, the entire scientific community will be holding its breath. Will we find the missing debris clouds? Will we discover new anomalies? Will we finally understand what these objects are? Or will they leave us with more questions than answers, departing our solar system as mysteriously as they arrived? Whatever happens, we're witnessing history. This moment, this discovery, these mysteries will be remembered and studied for generations. We're potentially on the verge of the most important discovery in human history. The universe has sent us not one but two messengers, wrapped in ice and mystery, carrying secrets from before our solar system existed. The fact that we can detect them, study them, and perhaps understand them is a testament to human achievement. But it's also a reminder of how much we still don't know.